Hey guys, I've been meaning to make a video on Makefiles for a really long time. In fact, I did a couple and I just wasn't happy with them, so I'm going to attempt a more simple version. Rather than have a bunch of scattered duplicate videos, I'm just going to have like one series. And this is the start of it. If you like reading stuff, learn better that way, just Google GNU Make and RTFM, you know? RTFM. But if you're not that RTFM guy, then I'm going to show you just a little how-to example. Very simple thing you can do with it. The main function of it. What this is going to be based on is going to be the stuff I was expected to know for projects, just going to college for computer science. So the extreme basics. I've went a lot further on my own, RTFMing, but okay. So what we're going to do here is a quick little project, and I'm going to show you how Make works to handle building it and running test cases. Here we go. Can you guys see this? Oh, you can't answer me because I'm recording this not live. I do stream too, and it's very awkward over there. Please go check it out. twitch.tv/bytepro17124. Catch the awkwardness of me coding live. Or whatever the fuck I'm doing. Go. Do it. twitch.tv/bytepro17124. I'm just going to cut this whole thing of me coding, basically. Okay, so we've made a stupid little program. It doesn't really do anything, but it needs two files. So that way I can show you that. So how do you compile this with a Makefile reliably every time? Well, let's see. How do we use Makefiles? Basically, you do something and a semicolon at the top of the file or anywhere. People usually do this after the macros. It doesn't matter what the name of this is. The very top one is the default one. A lot of people just conform to calling it default or all. I personally prefer, I think, default, but sometimes I change that. But you could literally just call it like this, and it's probably legal. So, FYI. That definitely produced a legal variable name. It's just the top one, it's the default one. The rest down here do matter though, and you call them specifically by name. Like I'll have one called run maybe. So when you go to the new line, you want to tab over to start its command. Anything to the right of this semicolon is called a dependency. It's what this relies on to compile or run. So what it does is when you call one of these commands with make, it runs all the dependencies. For example, this is going to this main one is going to be my compiler. I'm going to go ahead and call it default. And it's going to rely on a main.o and a stuff.o, which is the compiled versions of these. So anytime I just do a plain make here, it'll call that top one. And it had an error. Oh, it actually tried to compile it automatically. That's pretty impressive. Oh, I just have this wrong. Okay, this is another really cool thing about Makefiles that I didn't even think of. It automatically knows how to do the basics. So if you do this, it's going to look for these two files and just like automatically figure it out. As you can see, it does. But it only goes so far. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it does it. It makes the two .o's. But I don't have a command written down here. But it knows how to handle these dependencies for C++ innately, which is kind of cool. As you can see, it just compiles them, turns them into objects. But how do we run those? We don't have our final run. Well, you need to take those objects and put them together, as you probably know with C++. But this uses the basic dependency chain to take care of things, is what Makefiles do. So you have a command, you have the stuff it depends on, which will be built if needed, and these go off the timestamps of the CPP for them. Let's go ahead and handle those objects and compile them. So of course we'll do G++, and we want to compile our two objects, which is main.o and stuff.o, and we're going to out the object for this. We'll just call it out. And I think on Sigwin it's going to put a .exe on it automatically, but if you're on Linux it'll be something else. And so yeah, this will handle those two objects, put them together, and make a new executable. Let's see if that works. First, let's try make clean. Let's see if it knows make clean. Nope. So clean's a common rule that people add. I'm kind of jumping around here. But basically what you want to do is to get rid of all your objects. And so to do that, what we do is we do an rm command for remove. And what do we want to remove? Any .o files. So we'll do star.o. Star being the regular expression for anything, and then a .o. So it'll match all those object files, and it'll just delete them. I'm not going to put any flags on remove, but if you want to, you can. A lot of people will do like recursive, force, verbose, you know, fuck all that right now. Doesn't matter. And there's also going to be an out file, which will be a star.exe in my case here. So that'll work. Or I could also just say out.star or something like that. Whatever regular expression, whatever way you want to match it with the remove is fine. So now when we do make clean, it'll hit that rule and run that command in bash, which is just gonna delete stuff. So it runs this, fails on that one because there's no file or directory named out dot whatever, but it got rid of the other two, which is fine. Okay, let's do a full build now by hitting the default option with just make, and there it goes. And we can now run our .out with, of course, a // and then out, and it does come out as an exe. We can hit use ls to see that directly. See it there. But most terminals support pressing tab to auto finish, just FYI. So you can do that, save some time, and there it is. It runs fine. So if we do make clean, it resets everything. There's no longer an out file. And that's a very, very basic way to get anything compiling. I think that covers the main basics. These this main.o and stuff.o, as you can see, and as I said earlier, it implicitly understands how to build them just because make has that programmed in, because it's such a common thing. But you can specify them very, you know, on your own. Maybe you have some flags or something. You can say, okay, this main.o object, what we want to do with it. Well, first of all, it relies on main.cpp. Or it's dependencies main.cpp. Now, dependency, let me explain dependency a little further, just so it's very clear. The dependency, if it doesn't exist within wherever it's looking for it, like in your directory, it executes the command for it. It executes make whatever the name of it is. And so it would at this point right here in the program, it would jump down here and run this and do whatever it requires, which, as you can see, it built previously. It just knew how to handle it. But now we're going to make it spelled out because maybe we want to do something different. -c-o main.o, and then we're compiling the main.cpp. So that's the default command. But maybe we want to put compiler flags on this, like optimization level 2 or warning all. Now when we compile this with just make, as you can see, it took over that and didn't do the default innate one and used ours instead. So you can do the same thing with stuff, because it'll hit that next. Right now it's just using the default one, which works in this case, but if you want to add your own stuff, there you go. Now you can do anything else here. I usually like to have a run that just executes the program. So it'll be out.exe. That's always handy. That way you can just do this. Usually what I have the make run do as well is do several things in a row. First of all, let's see, I want to do this simply. I want to have this rely on out.exe. Am I thinking about this right? No, I'm not. Because you see, another thing is it only runs this command if the things in this dependency list either needed to be built or needed to be updated. So it keeps track of timestamps, and if anything has a newer timestamp than it did previously, it considers that it needs to redo the command. So if this has a new timestamp, it'll rebuild it. If this has a new timestamp, it'll rebuild it. So anytime you update main.cpp, it's going to rebuild this and rebuild this, but it won't rebuild the stuff.cpp unless, or the stuff.o, unless it was also updated. It will just keep the old one if it's still the same. So it's smart about handling the processing power about what needs to be built. And the whole point of make clean is maybe it doesn't realize some stuff needs to be rebuilt, so you can do a make clean and reset everything basically. And since they don't exist, it'll just rebuild everything after a make clean. Sometimes you have to do that after updating a header if you don't have the header included in here. But what most people do is they include the header in a dependency list too, so that if it got updated, it'll still build the stuff.o again. And same command here. So that's another reason to overwrite these, is to include the header too. Of course, this is going to be stuff, not main. But there we go. Okay, well, this run. So if you type run, I want it to go ahead and run the default command. So I would do plus. This just makes it run default. Default. I think that's right. Well, basically you can call other ones of these directly. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to say depends on these two. Rebuild. And then after it's done rebuilding, it runs the execute command right away. So these will go in order. So if I do make run, it rebuilds it and then executes the command. So using a Makefile, marking it up to how you want your program to handle things and test cases. Oh yeah, another great thing people start doing is they start doing test cases in here too. The options are endless. Anything you run in Bash, you can put in here. So I will do a follow-up video, a part 2 if you will, hopefully very soon, and I'll start getting into some more advanced things. I'll just take it piece by piece. I hope you understand this video. Please leave me some feedback down below. Leave me some feedback. Anything, whatever you think could be clearer. Any questions? Maybe you just want to chat. Maybe you want to brag. I don't really care. Any kind of comment activity, I'm gonna love, because I'm new here. Thanks for supporting this channel by watching this video. I'll see you next time. Peace out, and good luck with your Makefiles.